a tongue lashing from the Prime Minister for the UWI principal. A police officer charged with murder and remanded. And in sports, the big guns make it safely through to the round of 16 in the Champions Cup.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom. Disrespectful and ungracious. That's how Prime Minister Fendel Stewart has described recent comments made by the principal of the University of the West Indies at Cave Hill, Sir Hilary Beckles. Sir Hilary publicly criticized government's policy toward tertiary education, suggesting the move to introduce user fees at Cave Hill set the university back 20 years.
Prime Minister Stewart says free tertiary education was not a manifesto pledge of the DLP, nor a commitment given to anyone. He made it clear while addressing a joint St. Michael and City branch meeting that the initiative was undertaken then for as long as government felt it could do so. That lasted 50 years. Prime Minister Stewart says former principals understood their roles complying with government policy. And then he says sought to tell government what it should do.
If you want to be a politician, leave the security of your prepared position, come down and join the fray, and be prepared to be dealt with politically.
Prime Minister Stewart also announced some developments in the offshore sector. He's to sign an agreement later this week with a major oil company awarded blocks offshore.
The seismic data has suggested that we have impressive oil reserves offshore Barbados. So I should be signing an agreement sometime this week with BHP Billiton to do oil exploration offshore Barbados, so that we put in place a mechanism where we have a judicious mix of renewable energy and fossil fuel use.
And former MP for the city, Patrick Todd, says the party's record in Bridgetown has been credible. He says that seat is not a BLP stronghold. Kishmar Sanjis, CBC News.
Thanks, Kishmar. The police officer charged with the murder of Selwyn Knight on March 15th at Dash Road, St. Michael, has been remanded to prison. Constable Everton Gittins appeared before Magistrate Alston Seal, also facing charges of wounding and endangering life. He's now set to return to court on May 18th. But it was a long wait for the Knight family and many others who crowded the courtyard from early to see this case get underway. Shane Seeley was there.
It was a tense and emotional atmosphere in the courtyard outside of the District A Magistrates Court, where scores of people, including the Knight family, gathered to witness the first appearance of Constable Everton Gittins on a murder charge. Onlookers were made to stay behind the barricades under the watch of what appeared to be a heavier than usual police presence. Selwyn Knight's widow, Marlene, with tears in her eyes, continues to feel the pain of losing her husband.
I want justice because my husband was a hard-working man and he's the one that supports the family. I know that he got it very hard.
Andrew Pilgrim, the attorney at law for the Knight family, says he's glad it has finally reached this point.
If the DPP in reviewing this file is of the view that this gentleman should be charged with murder, and that is what he has decided, we respect that decision. If he had decided it has to be some other charge, we will have to respect that as well. But I still find that there's a delay issue here.
Then, at about 20 minutes past 1 this afternoon, Constable Gittins arrived. And it took less than 3 minutes for Magistrate Alston Seal to remand Constable Gittins to prison until May 18th. That's when he will reappear in court. And he left just as he came, in an unmarked maroon police SUV, away from the eyes of the public. I'm Shane Seeley for CBC News.
Meanwhile, the Royal Barbados Police Force has responded to suggestions that it took long in bringing this matter before the court. In a release, Assistant Commissioner of Police Mark Thompson stated the force had given assurances of conducting an impartial and transparent investigation with the greatest of alacrity. He said it did not want to sacrifice accuracy and completeness for speed and was able to complete the investigation well before the 30-day limit for such an inquiry. He added that on Friday, April 17th, after the independent review of the Director of Public Prosecution and advice from his office, instructions were given to arrest Constable Everton Gittins. And on Sunday, April 19th, this was done. Mrs. Marlene Knight, the wife of the late Selwyn Knight, was informed by the senior investigator that Constable Gittins was arrested and that he would be formally charged today. The RBPF understands the pain and anguish of the family members and empathize with them, especially in regards to this incident. However, the force took into consideration not only the rights of the victims and their families, but also the constitutional rights of the accused to a fair trial, given Barbados's due process model of criminal justice. He went on to say that in a small jurisdiction like Barbados, where everyone knows everyone, this right has to be jealously guarded. It is this reality, he said, which often constrains the dissemination of information to the public before and after a person has been charged, and even during the course of a trial. He stated the force would be very irresponsible to publicize information it knows or should have known is likely to frustrate the right of an accused person to a fair trial, resulting in a legal challenge to the conduct of the trial itself. Principal of the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, says the economic situation will not stop the institution from becoming a globalized one. He says the university has to take bold steps on the global platform.
Despite the challenges being faced by our economies in terms of resources available for higher education, that we cannot and will not allow our University of the West Indies to be ghettoized. It will not be ghettoized, it will be globalized. That is our agenda, that is our strategy.
The principal was speaking this morning where a ribbon-cutting ceremony was held for a Confucius Institute, which will allow students to learn the Chinese language and culture. But China's ambassador to Barbados, Wang Ke, says many Barbadians are already expressing an interest in learning the language.
I've been working in this country for 16 months and have come across a lot of Barbadian friends, especially young people, who expressed their wishes to learn Chinese language because some of them love Chinese culture, some plan to do business with Chinese partners, and some are interested in exploring career opportunities in China. The establishment of this Confucius Institute meets their desire.
The local press is being criticized for publishing what has been described as half-truths in relation to the school-based assessments. It's coming from Minister of Education Ronald Jones. Speaking at a St. Joseph branch meeting of the DLP, Mr. Jones said he is annoyed because such statements can be misleading, and he called on the media to lift the standard of reporting.
Some people don't even understand the process of the collection of scripts or the SBAs or the internal assessments, what must be done, how they must be done, what is the overall enveloping process of the Caribbean examination. They don't understand. And we have to learn from our journalists what is the correct thing, not what is the sensational thing. If the correct thing can be done in the sensational way, I have no quarrel. But when the incorrect is done sensationally, then everybody is a fool.
Minister Jones says he understands the increasing number of SBAs have placed greater work on teachers. However, he thinks students should not be placed at risk of failing their CXCs.
But when you argue that I cannot work with it unless I'm paid. It says to me that the emphasis is on the pay rather than on the quality of the work. And I have a significant difficulty with that. Don't let us exploit our young people for our own gains.
Mr. Jones says the ministry has placed an embargo on any further internal comments on SBAs outside of 2 recent releases. For years, the Beauty of the Rock sculpture at Paris Hill St. Joseph was hidden by overgrown bush and shrubbery, but now it has received a much-needed facelift. It happened on Saturday and was done by the St. Joseph Parish Independence Committee, along with a small team of villagers who undertook the debushing exercise. Ambassador Christina Smith says cleaning the mural is part of their parish project, and she believes it will help attract visitors and locals.
Today is the preparation for our project launch. We're actually going to be repainting and restructuring the painted sculptures, and we're also going to be cleaning up the burnt mirrors part, which is on the opposite side of the street.
The artist behind the sculpture, Chris Chandler, believes more communities should seek to develop tourist attractions. He also wants to see a greater effort made to maintain the Paris Hill mural.
It could be in many different ways. It's just like every weekend just to keep the stuff off the ground. Maybe once a year cut the bush. It could be community, government, individuals, whatever, sponsors. That's all, there are many different ways. But the idea is to have a clean area when folks come. If you come to your house, you want to have it a little bit tidier.
A popular Jamaican artist is worried about the impact of negative messages in music on Barbadian youth. Popcaan was one of the headline acts at yesterday's Reggae on the Beach show.
This year's Reggae on the Beach show was held at a new venue at Lower Bay Street, and from early it was clear the turnout was going to be massive. One of the artists many came to see was Popcaan. Now Popcaan rose to fame as a member of Vybz Kartel's Gaza group. Vybz is now serving a life sentence in a Jamaican prison. Popcaan says he has learned that dancehall music has a big influence on young people.
A lot of emotion in dancehall, happiness, sadness, and that it encourages sometimes certain bad vibes, but Popcaan is not about that.
Yeah, because say as an artist still you have to know the direction where you lead people, and me as a youth, me have a lot of influence, so if me tell you them to shoot, I shoot them, I go shoot, so I rather tell them party, you see me, and live up, because coming from where I grew up, I've been through a lot of things, and my sister, me get a chance to live my life again, so me have to try wise up the youth them the best me can. You see me Barbados youth them, we don't gonna stop shoot people and make money and take care of the family, straight.
But Popcaan was not the only one to excite the crowd. Gully Bop, previously described as a down-and-out DJ, has rapidly risen to fame since December last year and is hardly ever seen without his wife Shauna.
She's a part of my show, and she bad in about you. Time I run out, I know it's an early show. Now it doesn't make she touch it and make them hear the next side of her. But my wife, bad, believe me. CBC TV are the best TV in the world. I'm an industry thing, I'm a flashy thing, I'm not lashy thing, I'm not massy thing. I'll go about this, from nothing to something, from rags to riches.
Closing off the show was Mavado, the Gully God. He spoke about some of his upcoming projects.
I'm putting out my new album this year. This is going to be my third album. So we're working on that right now. And we're working on this alcohol deal and a couple more things,
We will feature more from the show at the Reggae Island tomorrow night, including interviews with some of the Bajan artists.